Hey everybody, welcome to our Sessionable Saturday sessions. The second time we've done this, so we're super excited to be back. I'm your host, Greg Avula, founder of Untappd, and we're super excited to have you back on to talk some of our industry interviews on this Sessionable Saturday session. It's like a bunch of words together. I want to bring on our Tom, who is now our first international hire. He's our VP of European Operations. Say a little bit about yourself, Tom.
Hi, Tom Maneschijn, VP European Operations as of the 1st of April. Was asked in the 1st of January to join Untappd, and then said yes. And the whole Corona stuff started. So hectic period, and exciting to start at Untappd.
Yeah, we're super excited to have you on board, Tom. A lot of people know that, Untappd's normally we're a US-based company, but we're definitely expanding all over the place, and we're so excited to be moving into the European area, especially Netherlands, which we're going to be talking today with Marc Janssen, who is the master brewer at Grolsch. Marc, thanks for joining us. Tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, Greg. Hi, my name is Marc Janssen, and I am master brewer at Grolsch. I work in a pilot brewery. The pilot brewery at Grolsch is a copy of our big brew house, and it's a scale 1 to 40. So everything is 40 times smaller, and I brew 2,000 liters per brew. And I develop new beers for Grolsch.
Awesome. Well, we'll get into all that great stuff there. Lots of questions about your brewing style and a lot about where you came from and your upbringing here. But first, we want to talk a little bit about what the Saturday Sessionable is all about today. Specifically, we're talking to our European counterparts, and most importantly, especially with COVID-19 being in place today, we want to give a little shout out to our friends at Help to Horeca, which is a you can find them at the URL on the bottom of your screen. It's a platform that provides a way for consumers to support the food and beverage industry in the Netherlands during these times of crisis by purchasing gift cards, vouchers for these restaurants that gives the money directly to them. And then therefore the business get the money. You can use them when they reopen after COVID. Tom, being so close to this, can you share a little bit more about what this is all about and how you can get involved if you're over in the Netherlands?
Yeah, it's a joint effort between all the big brewers, small brewers, wholesalers, and actually every platform that in some way is related to the Horeca. Mm-hmm. The Horeca is an abbreviation of hotel, restaurant, and cafes. So in fact, it's the whole on-premise landscape. Of course, during lockdown here in the Netherlands, the whole Horeca is shut down as well, and of course, rent is continuing, the personnel costs are continuing, etc., etc. And as a platform, Help the Horeca wants to raise money, selling vouchers to have the cash flow in place right now, and so that consumers can spend those vouchers later on in the year or next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great cause. We have a lot of things in the United States that are like this, so it's great to see that overseas this kind of impression is still left on people. So if you live in the Netherlands, check out the website below, helptohoreca.nl, and see if you can want to purchase some gift cards from your favorite retailers out there to help them during this time of crisis. And we want to thank them for supporting us here at Sessionable Saturdays. So with that in mind, we start with almost everything that we do with on Untappd is all about what beer we're drinking. So I'd love to have a Grolsch beer right now. The Pilsner is going to be watering in my mouth, but unfortunately, I don't have Grolsch right now, and I can't go to the store to get some. So I'm drinking a local brewery here called Counterweight Brewing Company, a beer called Workhorse. It is a Pilsner. It's one of my favorites from them if you're into more of a kind of a Pilsnery style and not specifically an IPA. So, Tom, what are you drinking? I feel you have better access to Grolsch being over there than I do. What do you got?
I live close to the brewery, and I happened to work at Grolsch for some months ago now, for 10 years. And this is something I brought along, and it was in my fridge, and I think this is a good time to open it. And it's the Pilsner. It's in the swing top bottle, and I think that is an iconic statement of Grolsch to keep it in this bottle. we drink it with friends and relatives. So
yeah, that swing top bottle, I think most people, even if you're not in the Netherlands or overseas, know of Grolsch because of swing top. Mark, maybe you can tell what your beer is and a little bit about where that swing top came from. And then we can all drink our beer because we've been staring at this for probably about 15, 20 minutes and our mouths are salivating. So tell us, Mark,
Really?
what about what you're drinking and what about that swing top bottle and how it came to be?
I'm drinking one of my own. It's the Grolsch Belgium style double. And I brewed that one for the first time in 2017, and we adjusted a little bit. And since September 2019, it's in the retail available. Yeah, something about the swing top. When I give a tour at Grolsch, sometimes I do that, and people ask, okay, where is Grolsch brewed? Okay, we brew it here in Enschede, and there are some other countries who are brewing Grolsch. They have a license to brew this, but every swing top you buy and drink wherever you are in the world is always brewed here in Enschede at a brewery. And yeah, that's really good. It's a really strange filling line. If you see the filling line, it's a strange line because we have to put all some different machines. One to close the swing top, one to open it, one to replace the red ring here. So yeah, it's a very big line. And it doesn't run so fast. It runs, I think, 40,000 bottles an hour instead of our 72,000 line, with our can line was doing 72. Yeah,
that's pretty crazy. Well, we've talked enough about what we're drinking. Let's crack these things open and enjoy some of this stuff here. Oh, look at that sound. I got nothing. I got a can here. They got the swing top bottles. It's like night and day when it comes to these things. So. Well, cheers,
I'll
everybody,
bring some,
for joining on the show.
Cheers.
Okay, cheers.
And for those that are watching as well, make sure to use the comments on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. We'll be answering some questions for Mark later in the show. So make sure you put your comments in there, and our team will kind of look at them and make sure we can answer them. Obviously, when you're checking into your event here, make sure you check into Untappd at Home and tag the event, which is our interview today with Mark and Tom. Also, we have a special badge that was released last Thursday, which is the Untappd at Home badge, which you'll level up. It's retroactive until the March 25th was the date that we turned on Untappd at Home. So you'll earn that as well. And make sure if you're watching us right now all over the world, make sure to tag us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And tag Untappd, and we'll maybe share it on our own personal accounts as well. So we really appreciate you, tuning in today and watching this great conversation unfold. So, why don't we get started into it, Tom? First question for you. Tell us about your current position here, kind of the arrival of Untappd in Europe. It's a big thing for us because ultimately, prior to this point, we were in those countries, but never anyone on the ground in terms of kind of getting us off the ground here. What's your backstory and led us to where you are today?
Yeah, I think that it's now 2.5 years ago now. I think that I hired a guy at Grolsch, Maneschijn Momberg. I want to tell his name, and he said, "Tom, look at it. This is a great app." And I'm ashamed. I haven't heard of it.
Tom, you're killing me here, man. You're killing me.
Until that moment, and. I said, Martijn, this is great. This is for a brewery, but also from user perspective, it's brilliant. And I dived into it, and actually a week later we called the main office in Wilmington, and coming from there directly on, there was a good vibe and a cooperation with the team at Untappd. And going from there, we did business, and I think late last year, Trey Smith, president of Untappd, he asked me, whenever you're else than working at Grolsch, keep us in mind. And and I have to be very grateful to Grolsch that they allowed me to join Untappd, because it's I think for myself a brilliant opportunity to I like most, and that's being innovative and be at the front line. And I think it's for Untappd. It's a very big step to lean over physically to Europe. I think we have a very big audience in Europe already. A lot of users, but over the it was always from the USA, and I think now there's the possibility for the European users and for the European businesses to have more support from the ground and see what is happening in Europe and to be a better fit with the European users. And
a lot of people don't know this, but the countries out there, in terms of usage on the app, everyone kind of assumes the US driven. We have all the top cities and stuff like that. I mean, 3 out of the top 5 cities in the global landscape of Untappd are international. We have London, we have Amsterdam up there, we have Sweden and Oslo as well. I mean, there's a lot of countries out there that we have no representation in that are using Untappd, and we're incredibly valuable to them. But having people on the ground in those countries helps us make the app better and the service to everyone being in that situation. So we're happy to have you on, Tom, and thank you for that backstory. To you, Marc, for obviously, being for Grolsch for some time now and being a master brewer there. I mean, what is your story? Obviously, you probably have a long lineage of brewing and doing all this stuff. What is your backstory? How did you get involved with Grolsch?
Yeah, good question. My story begins in 1978, and I was 4 at that time. And my grandfather, he was a warehouse manager at Grolsch. And every Sunday, we go visit my grandmother and my grandfather. And he took me by his hand, and we were going to Grolsch, and he needed to do some administration, and he drinking a beer. And I go with him. And my father at that time, he started at Grolsch first as a cleaner, then as a brewer, and later on as a master brewer. And in 1988 or something, I did my first seasonal work at Grolsch. Mm-hmm. And my first job was opening the bottles. We haven't had a machine for that, so they were coming on a line, and I was standing there with some other guys and opening swing tops the whole day. Great job. And in 1996, I finished my study, human resource. And I said to my dad, okay, I'm going for a year sabbatical, and after that year, I will pick up another study again. He said, well, okay, that's not going to happen. Next Monday, report at Grolsch at the 4th floor. And he took me to the cellars of Grolsch where all the tanks were laying there, and I had to clean them. I have to go inside in a manhole and put myself in, and then clean the tanks from inside. And it was my first job at Grolsch. And my father was hoping that after 3 months I was picking up a study again. But okay, you get free beer at Grolsch, and the wages were fine. So yeah, I stayed there. And after a few years, he taught me brewing. He taught me how to brew, and in 2004 we opened this new brewery here, and in 2005 the Pilot Brewery was founded. And there I brew with him, with my dad till 2009, and then he retired, and then I did some other things at Grolsch, and in 2016 we started up we fired up the Pilot Brewery again. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, you spoke about the Pilot Brewery, which I think is interesting. Reading about the history of Grolsch, and it's very unique to have something like that. Can you talk about a little bit about that program and how it got started and what its goals are for the overall Grolsch brand?
You mean the Pilot Brewery program?
Yes.
Yeah. Every year I brew four beers, and we got some, let's say, 100 hectoliters of that beer. And we're going to distribute it to 150 pubs in the Netherlands. And we asked the customer to give it a rating on Untappd, or leave a note at our website, or send me an email or something. And after that, when we receive all the feedback, we're going to sit with our innovation team, and we can decide, okay, is this beer good enough to scale it up or not? And that happened with the double and with the triple. The ratings were good, so we said, okay, we're gonna adjust the recipe a little bit, because customers say, okay, it's maybe a little bit too bitter, maybe a little bit too spicy. We can adjust it a little, and then we're gonna brew it in a big brew house, and we're gonna brew 800 hectoliter. Yeah.
Yeah, an interesting perception. A lot of breweries, think about them making a pilot batch of beer. You guys use a lot of different sources of data to be able to tell you whether the beer is good or not. And it's great to see you guys reaching out with Untappd and being able to use that information to make a decision on whether or not it's going to go into the front lines there. And I think that's really cool because a lot of people's brewers kind of want to make what they want to make, right? They have their own kind of look and feel, but you start that base there, and then you can use the customer feedback to really refine it. That's pretty cool from that perspective.
Yeah, it's not always fun to read the feedback at Untappd because there was well, Mark, you should definitely do something else, but do not brew anymore. But also,
the positivity sometimes outweighs the negativity, but you always have to have. The internet's a fickle place, as we all know that place.
Yeah.
Speaking about your brewing habits and how you do it, are there influences that you guys take from in terms of be food you're cooking or U.S. breweries or other breweries? Where's your inspiration come from when it comes to deciding what that beer should be next?
First of all, I'm now busy with the program for 2021, but it comes in waves. Last year, I had my honeymoon in the U.S. It was amazing. I drink really amazing beers, and the country is amazing. And so I get back and I sit behind my desk and I start emptying my head and writing down new ideas. It was crazy, but after this winter, I sat here and I said, "Oh damn, there isn't any single idea what I have to do." But then spring kicks in the Netherlands, and I got I got 12 new ideas for 2021. So yeah, but it comes from. It doesn't matter. Sometimes I walk into a market and I smell things or I cook things at home. Yeah.
Speaking of the U.S. influences, we have a question here from Steve. Asked, "Is there any plans for seasonal Grolsch beers to be in the greater market in the United States?" He says it's so hard to find here. Is there any plans to kind of expand those in the future?
I will do my best for this because I really.
I'm putting you on the spot here, Mark. So hopefully, no marketing team can come after you on this.
Yeah, I hope so. And Monday I'm going to call the marketing guys because we just I did some changes. I made some changes of our Grolsch Springbok. We have an autumn bock and a Springbok. And the Springbok, I'm so proud of that one. It's with Middelfrüh Hallertau Middelfrüh hops. It's really fresh, and we kick the sugar out of it, and I really love it. So I can't wait to let it taste the guys in the US. Yeah.
Nice to hear that, Steve. All you have to do is write a comment into one of these sessionable things. We'll connect you directly to the brewer, and then he'll walk up to your door and give you the individual beer. So very, very cool. In terms of not just the U.S., but another question from Mark had asked: "Are there any plans to introduce your online beer shop in the UK? Is that something you guys are thinking about in terms of being able to expand into other parts of the European area?"
Yeah, I think we are busy with that's going our wheat beer, our Grolsch Weizen. It's now being exported to Korea. Is it, Tom? South Korea. Yeah, so we are making plans to do that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Obviously, you're talking about the U.S. versus Europe in terms of brewing styles. Maybe the question for the both of you guys: what do you guys think the main differences between the European brewing styles versus the U.S. brewing styles? Obviously, in the U.S. right now, it's heavy on the hops, heavy on the IPAs. Do you find that same type of style coming into play in Europe, or is it kind of lagging behind? I'll start with you, Tom. What your opinions are?
Yeah, and that's from a consumer point of view. What I see and also in analytics is that in the Netherlands and in Europe, 85 to 90% is still lager or pilsner, and I think that ratio in the US is completely different.
Yeah,
I don't know the exact figures, but if you look at Germany and the big lager pilsner countries, the Czechs with 142 liters per capita, I think.
They drink a lot of beer.
Yeah. But lager and pilsner, and I think that landscape is slowly changing together with the boost of 0.0, of course.
Yes.
But yeah, that would be, from a consumer point of view, the main difference.
Mark, what do you think?
I think there's a really a difference between the brewers in the US and the brewers in the Netherlands. What I read about it, and I listen to some podcasts, and you guys are, I think, 5 to 7 years ahead of us.
Mhm.
And I think the quality in the US is a little bit higher in the craft beer scene. And I'm sorry to say that, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You guys are 5 or 6 years ahead, and we are still learning. And I'm trying to read and to watch a lot about how you guys brew in America. And then come home and I said to my wife, "Oh my God, they're brewing with bananas in the word can of how how can it?" So I'm really you guys are very creative, and the quality was very good when I was at your place, when I was there. The quality was, all the beers I drank, there was no off flavors.
What brewers did you visit when you were in California for your honeymoon?
Yeah, I knew the question would come.
I won't put you on the spot there. Sometimes when you're enjoying a lot of beer, you may forget. A quick plug for the Untappd app, and always forget when you use Untappd. So, but I think there are a lot of amazing brewers, like you mentioned, that are very experimental. We're seeing, a couple of years ago, the hard root beer kind of craze hit, and that was a big thing in the U.S. Now it's shifted to more like, malt beverages and flavored malt beverages, and how do they fit in there? Now, hard seltzer is becoming a big thing now. So I would say I agree with you in the innovation part, is they're trying to push the boundaries. But I think for most people that have been in beer for a very long time, I think they appreciate kind of the European style of brewing, which is more traditional, and the U.S. style is more like, we're going to throw everything in our kitchen, in our pot, and see what ends up happening. And that's kind of difference, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, but maybe it's true. Yeah, I like to push the boundaries within Grolsch, because when I first say, okay, I want to brew a porter, they say, okay, don't know if the Netherlands are waiting for that. I say, okay, but I want to surprise you. I want to put licorice in it, Dutch licorice.
Yes.
Oh my God, Mark, please do not do that. I say, okay, let me at least try it.
Yeah.
But it worked out quite well. But I think balance is the key word.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of things that happen in the trends that we see, the non-alcoholic craze is another thing that we think is starting more over in Europe and making its way over to the United States. We see things like BrewDogs having their own non-alcoholic bars and things like that. What is your feel on the non-alcoholic space, specifically in the European area?
I think, non-alcoholic, it is quite growing in Netherlands. I must be honest, it's not my favorite type of beer, because you miss alcohol. Alcohol is a part of the beer, and there are some good brewers, and we at Grolsch doing our best in the alcohol-free segment, but it's hard. The brewing methods are hard, and it's difficult to get a good quality. But we see that the trends are going upwards. Yeah.
Very cool. Another question for you, Mark, on how your kind of progression at Grolsch. I mean, we have a question from one of our team here. He asked, if you were a trainer at Grolsch for some time, what was the most important thing to train a new brewery coming into Grolsch for? What are some of the tips and tricks that you kind of can share with us about that experience?
Well, what my dad always told me, it's nice to say, I think it's all about discipline. And the first brew we made here in a pilot brewery, my dad taught me how to brew Pilsner, of course, because that is our main product. And then we started at the pilot brewery in 2005, and there was a German brewmaster here to help us. And he said, okay, guys, Mark and Henny, my dad, what do you want to brew? Doesn't matter to us. Pick a German beer. Okay, we're gonna do a Weizen, a wheat beer, and we brewed that 30 times. 30 times every day, and when you brew it, what you do on Monday, you should do it also on Tuesday. Know what you're doing and write everything down. When I start brewing, I start writing down my start time, 8 o'clock, and when at the end of the day, I say, okay, what time is it? 17:30. Okay, write it down, and everything in between, and that helped me a lot to become a better brewer.
Yeah, you hear a lot of people that go out there and brew, and I'm not sure if you brew yourself, Tom, but a lot of people are like, "Well, I can get this beer perfect on my first batch, but then the next time I run it, it's completely different." It's all about consistency and being able to do it at a larger scale, and that's, I guess, a very important factor when it comes to.
Yeah, I think the Weizen you're referring to, Mark. Everyone should try it because it's my favorite. It's not here because it's not in a swing top. It wouldn't survive the half hour. So yeah, definitely a recommendation.
Very cool. Well, I want to thank Tom and Mark very much for their time this afternoon. We really had a great time chatting about all the good things when it comes to Grolsch. Wanted to give a quick update to everybody else in terms of our next Untappd TV Sessionable Saturday. We're going to be having Augie Carton from Carton Brewery in Highlands, New Jersey on next Saturday at 2:30. So make sure to tune into that. And then our virtual happy hour series, which will be back next Thursday at 7 p.m. We're going to have the cast of the Netflix series Brews Brothers on. That includes Mike Castle, Alan Eisenberg, and Carmen Flood also on the show. So we're really excited about that. So head over to untappd.com/TV and subscribe for updates so you can know when we're going to go live with our shows. We really appreciate it. And if you have any questions or anything else about the show, or if you want to reach out to us on segments that you'd like, you can always send us an email at media@untappd.com, and we'll be able to kind of reach out to you there. So thank you so much, Mark and Tom, for being part of this. I learned a lot about the European brewing culture over there. I'm excited to work with you, Tom, more and more as we go through this process. And I'm going to have to find a swing top now because I cannot replicate that amazing sound that you guys just had in my experience here. So, and also, lastly, before we end here, make sure if you're in the Netherlands to check out helpdehorka.nl and make sure if you have the opportunity to spend and get some gift cards to support these businesses that we need. So stay safe out there. Thanks very much for watching. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.